special session.
Yes, welcome back.
You can hear the presence of someone with us. Hi, David.
Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been on cloud 9 ever since yesterday. It's been...
We're not actually seeing you right now, David.
Oh, you are? Oh, hang on a second.
No.
Camera gremlins again.
There you are. Hey.
Yeah.
Sorry, serious broadcast.
So we have to apologize to all those people around the world who don't understand British humor. So, welcome back. This is a Q&A session with David because he introduced all kinds of phrases yesterday that people were saying, well, what's that mean and what's this? So we just invite people who are on the chat and also people here in the room. If you have a question for David or for Alcazar, this is the time to ask it.
And so, I think David's question for us is, have we also been on cloud 9?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 9, 10, 11, and 12 is the response.
Just a question, actually.
Yeah.
Did everyone really feel the change in the space, the feeling of the space around you? Not just in the room that you're in, but when you left and you went back to your room, and did you feel even just a subtle, tangible difference in the space around you?
Yeah, it's a
lot of yeses
lot
here.
of yes. Yeah.
Cool. That's cool.
Oh, wow,
so
your daughter
we
felt
need the
it.
microphones. So people in the room, if you can use the microphone so that everyone can hear you.
Hi, everybody. My daughter, she rang me last night and she said, asking me about the day, and she said, oh, Mum, I'm so exhausted. And I said, well, not surprising. We just changed the trajectory of the Earth and humanity. And she said, the whole family, the kids, everyone was exhausted. And I said, well, there you are. You know why.
Wow.
But today she feels really good, just like I do. I felt exhausted too, by the way, yesterday.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think, did most people feel tired after that session? Yeah, there was a lot to integrate and a lot going on in the body.
Yeah, Brigitte and I took a walk, and there was like a tiny hill at one point.
Slope. It
Like
wasn't even a
slope,
hill, it was a slope up from the beach.
It felt like one of those like butt burner exercises.
I could hardly manage up the slope. Okay, David's disappeared
we have
again.
another one in the room. David, your your camera turns itself off.
It's weird, isn't it? Let me just... StreamYard seems to keep switching from my webcam to something else. Hold on a second, let me just...
You also sound like you're underwater as well.
I do? Okay, so you should have my video.
Yeah, I'm going to go see
I
if I
can see you again now.
Let me just put my headphones on, because there's a bit of feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good, David. So we'll have you. Go ahead.
I can ask?
Yeah.
Or wait for you.
Oh, yeah, maybe let him put his headphones. Is that a question? All right, cool.
Okay, can you hear us, David?
Not yet. One second, I'm just trying to get my...
Can you hear us? No, not yet.
Not through these, anyway. Hold a second.
Yeah. What are you on?
I've been secretly taking some of that stuff you're selling, so I'm... Okay,
So normally for the people around the world, we do all this before we come live, so we apologize for the adjustments that we're making here to try and get everybody to see and hear okay.
This is the secret session. All right.
Let's try this.
Okay.
It doesn't look like StreamYard is going to let me change the audio drivers without restarting for some reason.
Yeah, just go ahead and leave and come back in if you want.
Okay.
Oh, you need to
Okay.
restart your entire...
No, I don't think so. I think I just need to
Okay.
come back and I'll just try that 1 second.
All right.
Bye.
So this little girl, who's just 4 years old, says to her mom, "Mommy, what does it mean when somebody's an alcoholic?" And the mom thinks about it, and then she says, "Well, you see those 2 birds out in the garden? An alcoholic would see 4 birds." And the little girl says, "Mommy, there's only 1 bird out there."
Well, tell the one about the ducks in England.
Oh, okay. So, we're deep in the countryside in Dorset, which is about 300 years behind the rest of the country. And there's this old farmer standing by the side of the road, and this executive from London drives up with his sports car and his top down. And on the road, there's a ford, which is where a river actually doesn't have a bridge. You have to drive through it. So the executive pulls up to this old farmer, and he said, "Is that water too deep? Can I drive through it okay?" And the farmer scratches his head. "Well, yeah, of course you can, yes." So the guy drives his car into the water and gets stuck in the middle. All the water coming into his car. And he turns around and he shouts at the farmer, "Why did you tell me that I could drive through it?" Farmer scratches his head again. "Well, I don't understand it. Only comes halfway up my ducks." Think about it. Only comes halfway up my ducks. Must be an English joke. The Americans don't understand it. Okay, think about it. You'll get there in the end. Okay, well, it looks like it's going to be a very short question and answer session. So let's just all intend to create a beautiful connection with David. Let's see if we can turn our new levels of creativity just to intend a beautiful connection happening. We could also just do audio with him if his camera's still not working properly.
Yeah, he's not in the stream yet, so we'll see.
Your lei looks very pretty, Jules.
Thank you, sir. Yours looks very nice too. It's a really sweet energy, the leis. I heard once that when you're putting it on someone, you're saying, "This is sacred space." Thank you.
Yeah. And so, beloved ones, take this moment to feel self, your energy, your presence. Every moment is a moment of opportunity to feel, to be a little bit more aware than you were the moment before. So in situations like these, where things are not proceeding as you would like them or would hope that they proceed, enjoy the moment. Rather than getting up into the head and worrying, frustrating, see if you can just tune in and feel. Very good. So I think we could start if people have questions for Alcazar,
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
as David
We'll
hasn't
see if
joined us
David
yet.
comes back. Can I have your phone?
Yeah.
See if he's communicating. Okay.
I do have a quick question. How is the new 13 dimension interacting with the quantum crystalline grid?
The quantum grid is the basis of everything. It is the basis of all the dimensions, all the realms, all the universes, all that is. It is spirit. Let us say a little for some of those who haven't heard our explanation. We separate, for the mind's understanding, between the quantum field and the void. The quantum field is the backdrop onto which everything is created or painted or projected. Every dimension has a different reality and a different experience, but it is all within the quantum field. The quantum field is that place of no thing. What it is just quanta, tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces of energy or light, energy and light or light. It is both. It is just so small you cannot even see it. You need a massive amount of magnifying power to see the smallest part, and yet you still cannot access these quanta. And so the quantum field is made up of this whole massive amount of energy. And your thoughts take that energy and create. The void is beyond the quantum field. The void is the place of absolute creation. It is spirit. It is before the creation of those little quanta of energy. And so the 13th is one of the dimensions, one of the realms, with its own unique experiences. And as we have said before, it is a place that can amplify your creative energy. And so when we take you there occasionally, we ask you to be very still, which is why we went there during the last meditation without actually saying beforehand. Because if the mind is very active, if the mind is in doubt or chaos, thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch, whatever, those thoughts and feelings are also amplified. So when we move to the 13th, we invite you to be very still and far more aligned with your creativity. So, now we have a physicist with us. So, let's see if we can make use of the time before he disappears again.
Huh?
Okay, so we have the first question here in the room, and if there's anyone in the chat that has a question, put it in, and we will ask David that in a moment.
Hi, David. It's Noelle. First, I want to say, since we started the meditations in this workshop, I've been seeing the reflections in reality more clearly. So I can see how my programs are being reflected in reality more clearly, and how it's all so beautifully and elegantly orchestrated, so I can see those programs and change them. And when I change my beliefs, I can also see how the reflection changes. So that was just huge this week. My question is, with the Elohim meditations, I've been seeing these two vortices in my mind, and it looks like one is overlaid on top of the other. And the one at the top is turning clockwise, the one behind it is turning counterclockwise. And when I focus on that motion, my body feels lighter, and it's almost like I'm flying. My first question is, I can't maintain it for too long. So I would love to do that if there is a way for me to maintain it longer. And the second question is, now it escaped my mind. What was my second question? So I guess, what are these vortices? Oh.
Okay, so the Elohim would like to step in and answer that question. I thought I was going to do it. Dear souls, welcome back. This is a delightful question. The two vortices that you refer to are counter rotations. You have the ability, as each and every one of you does, to both remember as well as feel and apply the natural counter-rotating fields that are in your being. This is precisely what was shown to you. It is indeed the wish of your higher self. And indeed we see all of your higher selves to play with and learn about this sacred counter-rotating fields. We will ask you a question. What do you feel at the very center when the two counter-rotating fields are rotating in perfect balance? There is a secret for you here.
So I feel that, like I said earlier, my body gets a lot lighter, and I feel almost like this flying sensation. And towards the end, the vortex in the front almost drops into place. And it's almost like if you spin a coin on the floor and it keeps spinning, and then it kind of finds its place and just drops in place.
And so, dear ones, we say to you, what was the state of Yeshua's counter-rotating fields when he walked on water?
Okay.
You see, and we've given you quite a nugget.
Yes.
We invite you, we very much invite you to focus, get to know how to play with those spinning fields in complete, harmonious counter-rotation. You see, if they are out of balance, you're in duality.
Cool.
Thank you.
I like that. Hello? Hello?
I seem to recall a mention back a while ago, I believe from Alcazar, of the possibility of etheric quantum still point, and I don't fully remember the name now, generators. Once we had gone through the activations here in Maui and completed the series of the 3 locations, is that a possibility now? And if so, what is the proper use of them?
Oh, so you mean about the generators themselves?
Yes, can we bring them forth etherically if we do not have a physical one? Much like we bring forth etheric stargates.
Indeed, dear soul, the invitation we has just given you to play with your own counter-rotating fields is a powerful start. The generators, or as we see them, the stillness, clarity devices, have importance to assist, advance, and propel those who work with them to develop what we have just given you at a more rapid pace. There is indeed a relationship, a very strong relationship, as many of you have found when meditating and connecting with the consciousness of the generators while doing the many workshops that you have. They are a bridge, a very strong, still point, clarifying bridge. And so, if you wish to take it on your journey, you can indeed begin to create that bridge in your life. But it will take time. And in this case, the development of this particular bridge device has taken this one many years. But we strongly encourage you to develop with or without these still point clarifiers your own sovereign balance of your counter-rotating fields. We would like to see humanity to at some point move into a state of complete self-empowered, self-realized, sovereign creatorship. We hope this clarifies your question.
Thank you.
So there was one question. Can you keep my mic on, please? There's one question from the chat a little bit earlier that's just asking you, can you explain in very, very, very simple terms what happened yesterday in the meditation?
We are smiling, dear one. We will attempt to bring a nutshell explanation. And this will tie into the end of the question that came before. As we said, yesterday's activation, in our view, and those of the crews in the ships and around your planet and within, was a monumental step for humanity and your beloved Mother Earth, Gaia. And so, what happened? You have entered into a new quantum state. This is the early birthing stages. It is activated, yes. We will monitor we will modulate. That is to say, we will turn it up sometimes, and sometimes we will turn it down. We follow the potentials, and we are always following the sweet spot to assist and keep humanity on the highest quantum consciousness, love light potential, which, dear ones, you are now on. You see, you have jumped timeline configurations. Before this activation, as we see it, there were 4 significant potentials that were before humanity's choice set. You see, dear ones, choices are much like the branches of a tree. As you move upwards, you make a new choice. If that branch potential does not yet exist, your making that choice creates a new one. And within the myriad of branch choice possibilities, you get clusters of common choice that are engaged by so many that they are highly energized, singular potentials. And so to explain, there were 4 main potential clusters waiting for the collective to shift and, if you like, solidify into one or the other. But now, with the introduction and activation of this new field, that has changed. And in the lightness of the space around you that we know many of you feel, some very strongly, this is in part the sensation of being in the new potential. And so we will summarize as this. Not only have you elected of your own free choice to work with us, to collaborate with us, and those civilizations here assisting, to create this and activate it. As we said yesterday, there are many secrets, and we say the word secret, not that it is secret, but these are things you are going to discover in this new, powerful quantum field, this unified field. But, dear ones, to access these knowledges, these wisdoms, the key is to be heart-centered and to access through your heart center. This information cannot be misused. This quantum field cannot be misused. It is a field of extraordinarily light potential that is propelling you at a much faster rate to your own quantum and self-love realization. We hope this explanation will suffice, but we will add, there is so much more that you are going to discover about this field and your direct relationship with it. It responds to you, and you, if you wish, can respond to it. You are in a relationship, for you are both quantum consciousnesses. We ask you to play with that idea. And we will add, the generators are very important as anchoring points for what is to unfold. And so we repeat, if you feel the heart-centered call, we ask you to consider working with them. But if you do not, then we ask you, do not. We will leave that question there.
Thank you. So, can you ask him to keep my mic on, please?
Okay.
So, a question.
So I had a,
Hello, 1, 2.
I had a follow-up.
One, two. Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Okay.
We're
Hello.
waiting for the mic.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay. It's still not.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. This is just a follow-up question about the counter-rotational vortexes. Is this related to the Merkaba? And since that's counter-rotational too, and how does this also relate to the triangulation between the third eye and pineal gland and the sacred heart and the physical heart that you brought up earlier in the meditations this week?
A great many questions.
I have more.
We will give a simple overview. The great quantum field that spans all of creation is accessible and applicable, we will say, by all souls. There are many field sets, we will add, that make up the human vessel. And many field forms that make up you as a soul. You see, what you refer to as the Merkaba, it itself has many layers. It is not singular. And in the explanation that we gave yesterday of the ocean, with waves forming upon waves, and a multitude of layerings to eventually create what you perceive as solid matter. And so your Merkaba is an aspect within that nested creation, which serves a purpose of lensing, magnifying, and focusing energy into form. But the counter-rotation of fields, we would ask you to play with and focus on, indeed expands beyond what you term or may have come to understand as your Merkaba. Yet, the Merkaba is part of this. We invite you to get to know in your own way your own relationship to these fields and the relationship of your Merkaba, your cells, to these fields. And we have a tantalizing question for you. What is the relationship between the form of your body? How do your cells know where to position themselves? Where do your cells get their instructions from? We would ask you to discover the relationship between material, structure, and form, and the creative manifestation of these counter-rotating fields. Dear ones, you are going to delight in what you discover. You are going to discover simplicity, a relationship that when you discover it, you are going to realize, oh my goodness, is it that simple? Indeed you will. For the mind is a structural interpreter and amplifier. It seeks to correlate the structural meanings between the ideas you have. But, at least for the moment, it can look no deeper. And so, we will assist you. When you go in to discover this relationship, ask your higher selves to assist you to move your consciousness into your heart center into your sacred heart space, the powerhouse of your creativity. Let your mind still. Experience what happens when you ask the question, what are these fields? What happens when they counter-rotate in perfect harmony? How does that relate to the health, the state, the consciousness of my physical form? We love what you are going to discover. We hope this answers your question.
Thank you.
So there's a question here, which you can see on the screen, I think, from Owen.
So, still point clarifying bridge. Does this eliminate vibrations coming from other sources that may influence Owen's creation? Is that what 0 point is? Okay, so I feel I understand your question. Okay, oh, the Elohim do. They're smiling. They're ready to go. Okay. Dear one, there is indeed a wonderful and profound relationship between you and all of creation. But the power, the intelligence of your creative ability is love. The quantum field was conceived by love. And so, love is, in a way, the great intelligence that knows you, that knows every living being. It knows the smallest particle, to the multiverse itself. It knows what you love. It knows what you do not wish to experience. And so, with free will, you have, in a way, two modes of creative process open to you. When you create or bend or instruct energy within the dualistic framework, you always create both polarities. And so, you create two patterns of resonance in your creation. The opposite polarity of the creation allows you to resonate with like intentions and like polarities. Whereas, shall we say, the positive polarity does the same for positive intent, and so forth. When you create from your sacred heart center, and you learn to use your natural gift, which is inherent in your being, of those counter-rotating fields. From there, you create from love, no polarity. And so, your reality and your being begins to move outside of the experience of polarity into the unification of love creation. And so, to your question, the still point clarifiers are a powerful assist to help you master within the perfect balance, creativity of your sacred self. Now, we must be clear. This is something we see each of you here, and indeed all of you listening, are going to achieve. There is no question now. It all depends on the path to that experience on which you wish to choose. And so these bridges that we have brought down for you through this one, we consider a powerful assistive tool. But always remember, the tool of assistance does not disempower you. It cannot. In the quantum realm, in the heart-centered realm, if a device is truly of that nature, it will seek to empower you. It will not seek your dependence. And back to your question about vibrations from others. And as we see your mind, dear one, we believe you are referring to interferences. And so back to our analogy of duality. And we will give you a little gem. What holds duality in place? Does duality have divine permission to exist without your participation? We see many smiles as we ask that question. And here is the answer. No, it does not. It is a holographic artifact, a game, a construction designed to give you the perception of opposites, to provide contrast. And so as you choose to move into sacred heart creatorship, where no duality is created. Just as the masters did. Were they affected by the dualistic holographic presentation, the show? No, they were not. And so, dear ones, this is your task. And it is coming a lot sooner now than you imagine. We ask you on a daily basis, go within, into your sacred heart. If you find it difficult, ask your higher self to create the perfect counter-rotation for you. Sit in that space. Feel the existential energy existing in that energy. Do not think. Do not analyze. Let the energy imbue you. You will get to know it. You will get to understand it from a place of knowing, not thinking. As you practice this, and yes to your question, with the still point clarifiers, this will be greatly accelerated. However, this in no way, and we wish to be clear, negates your ability to do this. It is natural, dear ones. As you discover the truth of you, the stillness, the love truth of you in the complete still point in the middle. Knowingness will occur to you. New ideas and inspirations of future directions will spontaneously occur to you without any thought or thinking. You will know it. It will appear within you. Dear one, although that was a rather long explanation, we hope that by giving you those guidances, this does indeed answer your question.
Thank you. Margie Lynn has a couple of questions, but Margie, can you put them in the chat again, please? Is there any questions in the room right now?
Dear Elohim, yesterday after the activation, I saw myself, during the activation, I saw myself as a big crystal that was, and I saw the clarifiers with me, and I was inside the mountain, and I could see the ships, and I could see the communication happening between the ships and myself as a crystal and the crystal grid of the earth. So my question is regarding to this crystal part of the human body. If you could tell us more about that.
Dear soul, thank you for this question. Let us go piece by piece. You indeed had a very visceral experience in this, as did many of you in your own unique ways. And yes, the clarifiers were optimized in ways you have not yet experienced for extended periods for this meditation. Did you feel the energy coming from them within the Stargate as you were active in this meditation? That is piece number 1. In
Yes, I
addition, very good. In addition to that puzzle piece, we shall say, the participation of you and your brothers and sisters in the ships was as if a 3-point critical union. And in the middle was your beloved Mother Earth. This, to our eyes, was a most special activation. It brought forth innumerable energies, crystalline fields, and we will explain that in just a moment, for it relates to your question, and potential ideas, as we have elaborated, that will unfold for new, beautiful things coming to humanity, but we will not spoil that surprise. Coming to your question of the crystalline, coming back to our analogy, all crystalline forms, and we urge you to study, to heart-centeredly investigate the field nature, the quantum nature of crystalline forms. You didn't indeed experience the birthing of a new crystalline form within your human body. We are so happy that you detected this, for it was quite subtle. Well done. But all of you did indeed feel this, even if you did not perceive that it was crystalline in nature. So do not worry, dear ones. Each and every one of you received the full activation of what was presented yesterday. And now, we would like you to investigate further the energetic relationship between the crystalline of Mother Earth, the newly formed crystalline qualities that were activated, and the crystalline within yourselves. You see, dear ones, when we say crystalline, we are not necessarily referring to a fully formed material crystal structure. You see, crystalline forms have one foot in what you would call the more material or structured aspects of holographic experience, and another foot in the pure quantum. And there are many layers and different crystalline forms all the way in between. We have given you a great piece of wisdom. We ask you to explore it. And so, dear one, you were perceiving a more nebulous, yet seemingly crystalline, energetic activation that did indeed take place inside you, and did also take place inside the earth, and did also take place in your solar system. The explanation, a more detailed understanding, is what we will hope, in fact, we know, in the very near future, you are going to discover this for yourself. And we will not spoil this for you, and that is important. You see, dear ones, if we told you, not only would you yet not fully have the knowingness context with which to interpret and fully understand what we would say, even though deep within you, you already know this. But the act of self-discovery is a powerful alchemy indeed. And so it is not that we choose to withhold anything from you. We choose to empower the great alchemical, self-discovering creation of your path. Dear one, does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So Margie has several. Here's one that a phrase that you used in the meditation. And she's asking, what is quantum crystalline love light?
Dear one, thank you for your question. And so to recap in your human terms, what we refer to is the simultaneous unity as a being of love, as a being of quantum creativity, as a being from those places. You have the ability to support your consciousness in a multi-layered crystalline form, the most densest part of which is your human body. And so our phraseology, you could say, when we spoke of quantum love light, crystalline, we mean the full breadth of your being as pure love in the stillness of your being, expanding into quantum creativity, within the field of which exists the expanse of crystalline forms that distills and distills and distills into what you call your human body. It is an entire, beautiful, nested, unified creation. And we have given you a big hint to a question that has already been asked. This is the relationship we would love for you to discover more of. Does this answer your question, dear one?
Thank you. And a very short question, perhaps, or a short answer from Heidi. She's asking, did we receive the activation even if we fell asleep during the meditation, or do we need to actively participate to fully receive?
Dear ones, you did indeed receive. You only needed to be present with your intent to be a part of this. And we can tell you and reassure you, you did indeed get every part. Your falling asleep was not an accident. Your falling asleep was a necessary part of your part in this process with the current energetics that you needed to integrate. You see, dear one, you have a very active, jumpy mind, do you not? We know you, dear one. It is okay. Many humans have active, jumpy minds. This is okay. And in order to facilitate the experience and integration, your higher self as we see it puts you in sleep mode. Does this answer your question, dear one?
I think so. Thank you. We have another question from the room here.
So I had a question about, I believe Cryon has talked about the 24th chromosome as being quantum. And I just was also kind of thinking about how there's discussions about how the DNA will eventually become crystalline. So I'm just kind of wondering if there's anything that Elohim can share about some of the activations that occurred that also Cryon talks about the 12 layers of our DNA being activated. So I know there's many pieces to that, but it's just very interested in trying to connect the pieces of the puzzle together in my mind about many of this information and what happened in the last few days.
Indeed, a wonderful question. We are delighted to share with you. That something truly beautiful took place and has birthed within what we will say the energy spectrum of the crystalline that is your DNA, from the densest part and further higher. You see, the nested crystalline field form configurations, a mouthful, is it not, is all part of your DNA. As we know, the one Cryon has spoken of. Your DNA is not just physical DNA. And yes, indeed, the chromosomal structure that your scientists and many of you have seen pictures of and study has changed. The activation that was given to you is like an egg. It is going to give birth in stages. To come online all at once would overwhelm your current energetic configurations. It would overload your nervous system. This is to take place in unique ways to each of you that is a perfect fit for your chosen path, and indeed the choices you make moving forward. Now, with regards to this 24th chromosome, we will add that is not the end. In an extension to the wisdom that is already given to you by the one known as Cryon. But that is a subject for a future story. Does this answer your question, dear one?
Yes, thank you.
Very good.
So we have a question from Elizabeth. I still did not understand the answer. Oops, sorry, it's just disappeared. I still do not understand the answer to the question if we can put up an etheric generator by ourselves in the same way as we can create an etheric stargate. Yes or no? The answers are so complicated to understand. So you have a choice here, a yes or a no. See if you can keep your answer to one word. Or not.
Dear ones, we cannot. We will answer in a more simplistic way. We do understand that this subject is vast, and it will take a great many sessions to even ground some of the basics. But we will form a simple analogy that will help you understand. When you form an etheric stargate, or indeed an etheric generator, the effectiveness to which that develops depends upon the state of your own inner creative bridge as to how deep that will ground and create, and at what level that creativity takes place. The intent of the clarity generators, we will say, a more apt hybridization of your terminology and ours, is that the bridge is already fully formed. And so in that way, it assists in your own inner bridge development. And so, like the masters who had a fully formed, emanating bridge within them, they could manifest in what you call real time, because the energetic bridge work within was fully active. And so, yes, in varying degrees, depending on each one of you, the state of your current bridge to source, to your higher self, to your multidimensional crystalline fields, the entire beingness of you, that will determine the level, the depth, and the way in which you can manifest. We have just given you a huge hint, dear ones, to your manifestive abilities, and we will just interject, because we know so many of you have asked us, How can I create this? Why does this not create in my life? Dear ones, what is the state of your inner bridge? And this one we have taken through many arduous inner journeys to attain the bridge level necessary for these formations. And so we asked him to create these as an assist, an acceleration to those of you seeking to enhance and empower your own bridge. But again, we wish to be clear. You already have the power within you to clear and to work with your own inner bridge. We introduce, amongst other reasons we've yet to give, these clarity generators as bridge development assisters. You see, dear ones, we could not give you a simple yes or no, because the explanation needs to be shown to you in more depth. Does this answer your question?
I think the answer is yes, and that provokes a whole new list of questions. But I think that's beautiful. A couple of people have mentioned or asked about the doorway that you mentioned in one of the meditations, I think yesterday. And Faba Janas is asking, what's the best way to access the key to the door? I don't know that the door has a key, but if it does, can you tell us about it?
We love this question.
And is the door, does it open inwards or outwards?
We love your humor. We will answer like this. Who has created the door to be there in the first place? You see, dear ones, the mention of this door is in part to help you understand there are, in fact, no doorways. You have created them. You created them necessarily so that you could have this dense embodied experience. And so the journey back is in part to understand that you yourselves put those doorways within you. And so the key is truly understanding that you can unlock it and dissolve it upon your intent and readiness. Does this answer your question, dear one?
I think that's great, yes. Somebody's asking how many of these generators are going to be created? I know you had a sense that in the beginning there'd be about 150, but is there a set number, or what's the greater plan for these beautiful devices?
We will say this to this question. there is indeed no limit. We gave this one an estimation within a certain time frame so that he could be practically ready in order to build. And we say again, dear ones, with the wisdom that we have already given you about these devices, should you feel within your heart center, as many can be made that your heart desires to accept. And so, there is no limit, and we will share this with you. In concert with these devices, the more of them there are, the more of you working on your own inner bridges there are. You are accelerating the evolution at a staggering rate. We have told you many beings, many civilizations have come through over many years and told you, you are moving so fast. But with this work, with this activation now online, that is going to seem but a turtle compared to the sprint of which you are now going to engage. But don't worry. You are not going to be overwhelmed. The new crystalline energy forms, the new fields that are now online and irreversibly so. That is a good thing, by the way. Is going to make changes in profound new ways that have not been done before. And because of that, will enable a faster channel of growth in ways that are truly going to excite you. And we see many of these clarity points emanating in specific places around the earth. We are going to determine where they are, but that does not negate any one of you who feels the heart draw. That is important. We would like to say, from now on, we ask you, whatever you do, whatever choices you make, feel it in your heart, create it in your heart. Learn to move into creatorship that is non-dualistic, that is unified, that is heart-centered. With practice, your evolution, those bridges are going to hone and come alive in ways you have not yet experienced.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And we're going to actually we have one more question here. Let's start. It's time for the break, but let's carry on with the question for now.
So I just wanted to share. It's not so much a question, but when we first found out about the quantum generators, David, I just knew in my heart, I could see one, a little Stargate in my little home with the quantum generator in it, and I knew I am supposed to have one. And yesterday, my intention in the meditation was to definitely find this key. And I was just casually walking down to the beach afterwards to have a swim. And I got the message, you are a receiver and a connector to the crystals and the crystalline grid. And that was it. And I kind of thought, what? Okay. And I just went about my day. And then today in the meditation, I received another piece of the puzzle. And it was like, I am to emanate the love out through this grid and through the crystals. So I don't know if the Elohim have anything to say about this, but I know it's not the full key, but that's part of it. Thank you.
Yes, beloved one, it was us in part that inspired that message within you, along with the many guides, the beautiful beings that are assisting you. Dear one, and all of you who listen, we would like to remind you of your magnificence. We remind you, but you so easily forget. Oh dear humans, we love you so much. And we will keep reminding you and keep reminding you until you remember. You are not the separated, incapable, limited beings you have been taught from childhood you are. Dear one, we honor your tears, but they are not necessary. You and everyone in the room and everyone listening, dear ones, listen to our energy. Listen to our truth. You are us and we are you. We say again, you are us and we are you. Do you feel the energy and resonance of that truth? Do you feel the magnificence of your being? And again, we will remind you as lovingly and as patiently and repeatedly as we feel to do so. You are truly beautiful, dear souls. What you have accomplished on this earth, even beings at very high station did not think at the beginning of these projects that this would be possible. Dear ones, you have made this possible. You have incarnated despite all the odds, we shall say. You came again and again and again. You began the remembrance journey each time. You reconnected each time in various different levels. And you are now at the grand opening. when you truly remember who you are, the limitations, the ideas of yourself, of, shall we say, a little insignificant, incapable being, and we use those words to nudge the programs within you. You will look at these, and within an instant, they will not stand in your light and they will vanish. They are held in place because you hold them in place, just as you do the doors. Dear ones, these are the doors. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And now we will add, from your heart center, and indeed with these generators as you term them, you can both receive from the new field and you can amplify back. And this we say to you and the one Prageet. This amplification is going to be a significant aspect of many of the meditations moving forward, should you choose to do so. And we come back now to this one in your question. You are indeed exactly as you have gotten, and much more. As indeed all of you who are listening. We do not say this lightly. We wish for you to discover the true beauty, the majesty, if you will, of who you are, what you can do. You have only begun to get the smallest glimpse of that understanding. But with this activation, this participation, that knowingness is now going to come to you far faster, and we would dare say in linear terms, in this current potential, depending on your choices, between 10 to 1,000 times the rate that you were at before the activation. Does that help you understand the acceleration, the jump you have undertaken? Now, the more, dear soul that asked this question and all those listening, you open your hearts. Let go of the hurt. Let go of the wounds. Nothing can harm your sacred heart. Dare to open. Dare to feel the real magnificent you. And dear one that asked this question, and many more, you are indeed transmitters and emanators of pure love, and part of your mission is to amplify, create, enhance these quantum field crystalline grids and energetics that have been established. And so again, well done to each and every one of you. We celebrate you, and if you tune in, you will hear our joy, our celebrations, our congratulations of you. This party is not going to end. We will continue the celebrations. For you are to be celebrated, and you are. We asked you the other day, do you feel the chorus, the concert, the enormity of the civilizations that became aware of the jump that was just made? Many of them asked, what was that? What just happened? And upon tuning in, they discovered something very significant has changed on a larger scale. That indeed is another story for another time.
Okay, so we'll have a shorter break and there's one more question.
I'm happy to answer now if you wish.
Yeah.
We were just curious if your heart field is ready and you're feeling ready, but you live with people like your partner, your children, or other people in your home, and you suspect that their heart field is not quite ready, would that be a challenge, or would it be okay to have the quantum stillness clarifier with you?
Dear one, it is okay, and we will explain. As before, we said, the intelligence of love and the quantum field created by love, endowed with love, knows you, knows everyone, knows who is ready for what and when. And so, by moving in your path, and we celebrate you for doing so, for we know the energies and the odds, we will call it, that you have had to face. This energy does not impose, it waits. Just as love holds itself back, even from some of the most devastating, in your terms, in your perspective, goings on, or so appears to be, it honors absolutely the free will choices of all involved. It will never impose. And again, this is one of the big differences between unified still point creativity from love and dualistic creation. You see, within dualistic creation, there exists the possibility of control, pressure. Dear ones, that does not exist in the true underpinning of all that is. That is just a holographic perception. So, to your question, by holding the space, by developing the way that you are, by wishing to have a clarifier, what this will do, without impinging on their free choices, it will offer them, even though they will not know they are being offered, powerful and significant new choices, but choices they will be. As they choose to accept this energy, it will move into them at the level appropriate to their choice, and then will create new offerings. new possibilities that they will elect to choose or not, and so on. Does this give the example that you are looking for?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. The answer is the same for the Stargates too. They don't impose anything. So thank you, David. We're going to start again in a few minutes. So we're going to end this session. Thank
Okay.
you all. We'll be back in 10 minutes for the people around the world. Thank you,
Okay.
David.